All right, so we're going to start with making PDFs fillable. What you need to do that is this prepared form application, which is part of Adobe Acrobat. The account I have is the Acrobat DC Pro here. So I know it comes with that. You may need to upgrade yours if it's not an option, but that's the form, or that's the app you're looking for to make these forms fillable. So I got a few up here that I'll play with to show you some of the options. Here's just a quick demographic that I made, and then one of the PhD dissertation forms. So down at the bottom right, when you click Prepare Forms, it's going to prompt you to start. You can save it here if you haven't used it before yet. It'll prompt you to save first. And so what it's going to do is it's going to auto-populate some of the fields that it can identify that it seems like you may want. You'll notice it missed a few things, like it didn't give me checkboxes here for my gender or for my ethnicity. I'm going to show you how to add those, but let's just talk a little bit about your options. So at the top, you've got your cursor, which will allow you to click on one, change the size, move it around, anything like that. Next, it'll be to edit the text, so you can edit existing text if you want to. Or maybe the next one over is to add new text if you forgot something, if you made this in Word before and you want to add a couple lines of non-fillable text. Something like that, and you can move it around too, same thing. The next one are your just your fillable text fields. So those are the ones that you're seeing here. It just gives you one and you can plop it anywhere you'd like. And the first thing it does is it prompts you to name it. The name is really important because it's going to match any field with the same name. And anything you type in one of those fields, it's going to autofill into all the fields with the same name. So let's see if I name this name, just like our first one up here. And we go to preview. As soon as I start to type my name and I tab over to my next one, it's going to autofill my second field that was named that. If I edit it up here, it's going to edit it down there. If I delete it from the bottom one, it deletes it from the top. So it's really important to just make sure you're sure if you want them to have the same name or not. So with that being said, if you were to right click and copy and then paste it, it's going to have the same name. So if you want to create a duplicate field with the same settings, you're going to want to make sure that you use the Create Multiple Copies button. This will prompt you with a box, and it kind of does it like a little grid. It builds them in even numbers. So you can select how many you want, move them around. You can change the width and size if you wanted to, and kind of the position overall there. So I'm just going to hit cancel because we don't need any more of those. Another thing when you right click on this pop-up menu is your properties button. Let's go through these really quick and show you what they are. General is where you type the name if you wanted to change it after the fact. Your appearance is going to be all your font sizes. So if you wanted to autofill with size and shrink as the text box gets full, you can select that there. Position, here's where you can set a specific height and width if you want to, or if you know a specific position you want it to be at, you can enter that. Your option tab is going to have your alignment, if you want it to be left adjacent, right adjacent, your justification, excuse me, versus if you want it to scroll. The long text would mean it would scroll kind of continuously behind all this text here. You only see the section that was actually in the box, versus your multi-line, in which that would be like a wrap text in Word, and it would wrap it down to the next line. Like for paragraphs and such. So a few things that are important there. Formatting, so you can change it to format like a date or a percentage, anything like that. And then validation, you'd have to have passwords and such. Or excuse me, not passwords, but a set validation code that you'd like in there. All right, and let's see what else we want to show you. So let's format this one here for date. We can format it as a date. So I'm going to go to the Format tab and then down to Date. And then you can choose, do you want it to be the full 2-month, 2-date, 4-year? Do you want it to be a shortened one? However you'd like it to be. And then that's how it will prompt your participants to fill in the date as. Our next ones over are the checkboxes. So those would be good for maybe something like ethnicity or race. If they're going to select multiple options, this would be a good place to put it. You could click to create multiple ones and decide how many do you want. What do I have? 9 of them, so I want 9 down, but just 1 across, and it's going to make all 9 of them for me. It's not exactly lined up how I want it to be, so I'm just going to shift my bottom one down a little bit. Then I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to evenly distribute them over to the right here, so that it spreads it out appropriately. And when we're talking about that, it's got all your alignments just like you would in Word. It's got your left, your center. If you want it to be centered on the page, either horizontally or vertically, if you want to match sizes, all of that stuff is there. Those are really helpful when you're building these from scratch. So the checkbox is going to allow them to choose multiple at once versus our dots here, which is going to make you pick one out of the series. So something for gender, we're going to set that there, and you can name it here, anything that's in the same group name. So this is group 3. So anything in group 3 is going to be part of that option. So, and to add more within the group, you're just going to click this add another button option down here in the yellow. And then I'm just going to throw 3 of them on there, and then I'll use my features to the right to align them. So I'm going to select all 3 of them, maybe do a left alignment just based on where they are, and then I'm also going to distribute them vertically so they're nice and spaced evenly between the 2 there. Next one is the next one is your list option. So you can list a few choices in this box, so we'll just throw it up there. You're going to right click and go to Properties, and then under Options you're going to start adding some items in here. So maybe you wanted to do your gender here, so add a few options in there, and then they could just choose from a list of existing choices, and I'll show you what that looks like from the user point of view. So I'll go to Preview up here at the top right, and it's just a little box that they can click and choose between. The next one over is the drop-down menu. Similar idea. Add it wherever you need to. Right click, go to Properties, and you can start building your list under Options. So same thing if you wanted it to be, your genders or whatever it may be there, and then it will. I'll just do 2 for now, so you can see it. So it's just a drop down of choices. So there's that one there. Let me delete this guy. Your next is your OK buttons. Well, your buttons in general. So you can name it whatever you'd like to. You can right click and go to Properties, and then you can choose and kind of build your actions here. So these could take you to next pages if you wanted to jump to a page, if you wanted to open a link, and then you're going to put it in there. It's got a lot of features, but I'm not going to dive too deep into it because we can spend a lot of time on these, but they're your button icon. So if you're filling out something like at a doctor's office, as soon as you click OK, it might take you to the next page, might bring you to a website to fill something out. This is where you build those there. So let's delete this guy. Next we have our image icons. So you could add pictures to these. You could add pictures that are links, a lot of different options. You just go into Properties. I believe it's must be under Options. Okay, yep, there it is. So you can choose your icons. Maybe you put the NU icon in here. You could turn it into a link, whatever you put. I'll just throw a picture in here so you can see what it looks like of my dog Joe. Let's give that a second to load. And we'll hit OK there. So you could just put it in as a picture. You could also put it in so the picture becomes one of those button things where it jumps to a page, jumps to a website, whatever the case may be. I'll just leave it in there as a picture. So you can see that looks like. Sorry, got out of my prepare mode. There we go. Got to go back in. Okay, now I can delete it. Next one over is the date field. This one is the pop-up menu, so it will pop up, there we go, with a calendar, so that you could select the date versus typing it in. Just another option for that. And our next one over is the signature. We already have one of those here, but to add a signature line if somebody's going to sign it, same thing. You can create one signature for multiple fields and they sign everything at once. They could go through and have to sign each thing. You can also do the initial fields through there as well. And the last one is the barcode, which requires a different subscription for Adobe, and I don't have that one, so I don't use that one personally. But you could create barcodes unique for your company or your organization to be able to be scanned through there. So just a quick overview. Those are the main things that I use. If you need more advanced training or you want more help on a specific type of fields, feel free to reach out and Rachel and I can assist you with that.